All right, guys, we're back here on Southeastern 16, presented by FanDuel. SEC basketball reaction to a Monday sweep, which should not be a big surprise. Max, all these games were pretty one-sided in terms of the spread coming in. Had a few interesting spots, as we figured. Georgia was trailing Long Island at halftime. You said there'd be a couple. Georgia was one that didn't look too great early. Oklahoma didn't look great early against the Delta Devils, but everybody wins, which means everybody wins here at Southeastern 16. Chat jumping in this morning, and I know Brian says it's time for our expertise on these games. Brian, you're not going to get much expertise on these Monday games, at least not from me. I didn't think it was really that much of a noteworthy evening of SEC basketball, Max, outside of a significant injury for Texas A&M. Alabama kind of taking it to Yale without Labaron Philon. And everything else I thought was just kind of about what you expected.
Oh, but you are mistaken. You are mistaken. There's much to discuss in the world of SEC hoops. We had a debut for Kirill Elatantsev, I believe. I'm going to probably get that wrong quite a few times. But we had a debut for the Sooners. Kirill comes over from Russia and immediately plays 18 minutes after 2 practices for the Sooners. We'll hear from Porter Moser. The story of how they found him is not what you think it is. It's not what you think it is, the story of how they found Kirill. We've got that. Calipari, holy smokes. We're not going to play the full 7-minute clip of him going scorched earth on the NCAA. But that was about, guys, we know how animated Calipari gets in his press conferences. It's great entertainment. It's good stuff. This was another level up. Not going to play the whole thing, but you can find that out there. Wow. John Calipari was speaking his mind last night on the current state of midseason additions into the league. Like you said, we had some big injury news from Alabama on Labaron Philon, on London Jemison, on Davion Hannah, their availability for Saturday. Let's dig in.
You are way more excited about all this. I appreciate your enthusiasm. And what was, again, a very lopsided night for the SEC. But we have to find storylines somewhere. Certain people don't want to talk about the three-point shooting for the Hogs. Okay. Hey, you're welcome. We won't talk about it.
No.
All right. Where do you want to start? Because I'm going to start maybe in a place we didn't expect to start on this one. I'm going to start with Texas A&M because I think of everything we mentioned, I think that's the most significant thing, and that is that Mgbako is out for the year. They've put up as a team now 111 points in 3 straight games. That's noteworthy in and of itself. Buckyball on full display. We'll see if that continues once they get into SEC play. But I think that was probably, for me, the most notable thing coming out of Monday was that a guy who missed the first 5 games of the season, we kept saying, all right, they just need to get him back. And, I think ups and downs in terms of like transitioning into his role and all that. But now he's going to be out for the season. And I don't know, man. I think that's a pretty significant thing for a team that feels like they're going to be right there on the bubble.
Yeah, and it's huge for how they play too. At 6'9", he kind of offers that stretch 4 while able to still have some size there along next to big Rashawn Agee, who I absolutely love. But now without him, it's kind of a mixed bag of maybe a little bit of Ruben Dominguez playing small ball at the 4. They've been playing a lot of the transfer from Southern Illinois, Dibba, Swedish guy that's been getting a lot of minutes lately. 6'5", 210. He plays bigger than 6'5", but man, it would have been so nice to have that 6'9", 225 upperclassman body there before you go into these SEC front courts. And Mgbako, a guy that, can stretch the floor. One of his top Ken Pom player comps is David Joplin. If you watched college hoops the past few years, you know how Joplin plays at Marquette. So it's losing that kind of stretch four with some size ability. Blake, I think for a team that when you're looking at their resume, they don't have those high end wins. This could be a real killer for the Aggies this season.
Yeah, so they get the win last night, again, convincingly. Not even close. They put up, 111, 112. Yeah, so we'll see. They need a bit more on their resume, for sure, but 111-82 win over Prairie View. That's what A&M has coming into SEC play starting on Saturday against LSU. Big game for both those teams on Saturday. We will. How about we do talk about the Arkansas 3-point shooting for a bit? I lied, said we weren't going to talk about it, but they got to give the Hawks some credit. They're up to a top 15 team in the country now in 3-point shooting. I think that is a bit of a surprise, to say the least. I don't think if we would have made a prediction on where they would be right now, I don't think we would have said that, Max, at this point, 13 games into the season. But going 15-28 last night helps you get there, 54% in the 103-74 win against Jimmy Madison up there. Yeah, Malik Thomas 6 of 10. You had Wagner go 4 of 5. Acuff went 3 of 6. Knox knocked down 1. So, yeah, the Hawks just took care of business. And, I mean, again, I think that's why I keep harping on our friends at FanDuel. If you're gonna get in on the action and you want to find a team with some great odds to win the SEC, I still think Arkansas is the best of the bunch when it comes to your value there. But, yeah, I think if we look at it as a whole here, an Arkansas fan, I think you've got to be very impressed with this 13-game slate thus far. Your 3 losses at Michigan State, by 9 on neutral court against Duke in a game where you led. I think if the Michigan State game would have been played in Game 6, they probably win it versus Game 2. And then the Houston game is a tough matchup. No question. I think Houston's just the kind of team that would probably 8 times out of 10 give Arkansas problems. But still, I mean, I think the Louisville, Texas Tech wins, those are huge. And now you get a chance to start league play on Saturday with another kind of huge resume booster if they can beat Tennessee in Fayetteville.
Malik Thomas, baby. Hey, your fantasy team got a big boost from that. Malik Thomas, I sat here. It was a solo stream, Blake, and I sat here with Hog fans, and one of the main talking points was, man, we're gonna need the offense from Leak. Gonna need Malik Thomas to start being a little bit more consistent. That's exactly what you needed right before you play one of the best defenses in the league, Blake. Get your freshman some confidence back. Get his outside shot confidence back. And Ken Pom MVP of the game, Malik Thomas. And he's getting aggressive. 7 free throw attempts. And that's his second highest on the season. He had 9 free throw attempts against Louisville, a game he put up 17 in. So you're getting Malik Thomas aggressive and his confidence back. I like it. That's, hey, against a team like James Madison, who is not the James Madison of years past, 7-7 right now. They're not a terrible mid-major, but they're not James Madison of years past. If you said, okay, they're going to beat him by like 30, what's one thing you need to see? That would be my number one thing. Let's get Malik Thomas going again, and exactly what they did.
Yep. So, again, good finish to the non-conference slate for the Hogs. I want to go to Alabama next because I think they had the game that had the closest spread, right? All things considered. But they took care of business, and Big Baller Brett, our Intel aficionado, came in yesterday dropping the intel that Philon may not play. Philon did not play what's called a minor wet thigh injury, bruise. I don't know how they worded it. But yeah, doesn't play in this game. Alabama still takes care of business against what is now an 11-2 Yale team that the analytics really high on. Not a surprise with James Jones's squads there. 102-78. Yeah, I thought this was a very impressive performance for Alabama. You know, Aiden Holloway, talk about someone that the analytics, like, he probably doesn't get enough credit. Man, the Aiden Holloway is a big analytics like guy in terms of like all the ones just seem to, and it makes sense. Like you do kind of look at the value he brings and all the things he does. I don't think we talk about him enough, but it's probably just a product of playing alongside Labaron Philon. Like I think it's kind of just that. But yeah, he had a great game, 26 points, 7 assists, and I think that's what we said. It's not funny, but it's like, here's another game where Alabama doesn't have its full roster,
Mm-hmm.
and yet they come out and take care of business. And yeah, talk about 3-point shooting. 22 made threes in this game for Alabama. They put up 54 from three. 54 attempts. Might be the greatest team in the history of sport, in my opinion.
Yeah, this was a good result. Aiden Holloway, like you said, analytical darling here, top 30 in the country in offensive rating. 7 assists, 0 turnovers for Holloway. 4 assists, 0 turnovers for Amari Allen. 3 assists apiece for both Houston Millett and Latrell Wrightsell, 0 turnovers for both of them. 17 assists to 0 turnovers for that kind of guard pairing of Millett, Wrightsell, Holloway, and Amari Allen. That's incredible no matter who your opponent is, if they force turnovers as a scheme or not. And let's not downplay Labaron Philon being out. I put up that efficiency graph. One of the highest efficiency guys in the country on the highest usage. And Alabama has the quality of depth in the backcourt to not only soak up that, just completely disregard not having Labaron Philon, then you have a fantastic performance covering the spread by margin. This was an impressive game. I know it was a 15, 16-point spread, but still, I came away very impressed. And we saw it with Aiden Holloway. It was like, I think it was that first St. John's game. It's like, man, he's playing under control. He's getting into the lane, absorbing contact, not turning the ball over and making the right choices. He just keeps getting better through physicality. I was impressed. We did get some injury updates though on the guys from Oates. Oates said that he says for Philon, we're off tomorrow. Hopefully he gets a lot of rehab. I think it's likely he plays Saturday, but I don't want to say for sure yet. He's got that leg injury from Kennesaw State. Does expect London Jemison to be back. We were talking up London Jemison coming, really coming on strong there, playing with Amari Allen. Jemison should be back. And then Davion Hannah Blake, a little bit more serious. He's got a medical condition that they're trying to work through, getting him back into game shape. Not sure on a timetable for Hannah, but I think we'll have Philon and Jemison back for Saturday.
Yeah, which of course, you guys know Alabama will host Kentucky on Saturday. A tremendous matchup to start SEC play, but the Tide going to finish 10-3 in non-conference play. Only 3 losses to Arizona, the Zags, and Purdue. So you'll take that. The Illinois win. Still doing a lot of work, I think, for Alabama. That was a really good one for sure. Okay, let's continue on here. We're not going to probably get into every game, but so Max, we're going to do kind of a grab bag here of the others. Let's run through some scores. You can just take it wherever you want to take it. Vanderbilt 96, New Haven 53. We had Florida 94, Dartmouth 72. Georgia rallies from behind to beat Long Island 89-74. Mississippi State 94, Alabama State 56. Ole Miss 79, Alcorn State 43. LSU 90, Southern Miss 62. Auburn 106, Queens 65, and then Oklahoma takes out the Delta Devils of Mississippi Valley State 93-69. Where do you want to head next?
Let's kind of circle the Auburn, Georgia kind of matchups because those teams are meeting in one of the most interesting games to open SEC play. And I had said in the preview, we're a little bit hesitant on just predicting SEC clean sweeps this year. It's been a little not as clean as last year in these spots. And I said, I think maybe 2 teams are going to be losing at halftime. It was only 1, thank goodness. And then second half, Mike White and Georgia pull away. So I think that was just more of a, listen, coming off a Christmas break, you're going to get some wonky results after a holiday season. You come back, student section might not be in full force, and the other team makes some shots in the first half. Not knocking Georgia for just kind of sleepwalking through a first half after a Christmas. Just not gonna knock them. But what I am gonna do is have some takeaways on the Auburn Tigers. Here's some stuff from Stephen Pearl, one of my favorite coaches in the league right now. He just gives so much good stuff in his post-game press conferences. So there's a few things. I was harping on Todd Pettiford for his assist rate. I was like, the need to be more of a creator here. These numbers have dropped from last year and they needed to increase. Right on cue, career high 9 assists for Todd Pettiford. This is what Stephen Pearl said, this quote from him. We told him, like, your assist to turnover ratio is 106th in the SEC. And I think that, well, there's some profanity here. And I think he took that a little personally and was like, shit, I need to pick this up. You could just tell he was attacking the paint, looking at the rim. He was trying to see where his teammates were all night, I thought, which was really, really good. And he was very intentional in that area of creating for others. Blake, that's exactly what you want to see from who we thought was going to be, potential SEC Player of the Year candidate, leading this Auburn team now with no Janai Broom. The keys are handed over to Todd Pettiford. And hey, career high 9 assists right before SEC play. You'll take it.
Yeah, I may have said it last night when I was talking to Sam Snelling over at Rock'em Nation. I think Auburn and Georgia is the most fascinating game on Saturday.
Yep.
Because I think it's a crucial game for both teams. We've said, like, for Auburn, I think the defensive numbers, are going to have to improve. And I mentioned, I said, I think this is such kind of a big game for them because I think the path is there to get off to an excellent start in SEC play based on the way their schedule unfolds the first 3 weeks or so. So I think if they can go win at Georgia, I really do. I said it yesterday. Bold prediction: Auburn finishes top 3, maybe. Could be 5-0, 6-0 to start SEC play potentially. Don't know, but I think that's one where you learn a lot defensively against the Georgia team that offensively we've said that has just been kind of a juggernaut. And I don't put a lot of stock into the fact that they're losing at halftime last night. I just think these are games where this is going to happen this time of year, especially.
Yep.
And so just don't put a lot into it. So yeah, I'm excited to preview that game. Not excited to make my prediction for that one, Max, because I don't really have a good feel on where I'm headed with that one. But yeah, I think that's the most fascinating game to me on Saturday. So.
Well, good news, finally, on the injury front, as if you watch that game, you couldn't really tell from the box scores, but Sean Murphy looked like Murph. It was the most Murph I've seen out of Murph. If you understand what I'm saying. I mean, he looks healthy, needed that rest. He looks healthy. One thing Stephen Pearl did say, though, was not happy with their ball security, and that's something that Georgia's going to challenge. Pearl says, quote, "We have to do a better job of handling ball pressure. Georgia is going to press us and really get after us on Saturday. We have got to do a better job of playing under control." And I thought after the first 5 minutes, we did do a better job as the game went on. But I like that for Auburn fans. I like that. You're going to be clear, identifiable thing to work on this week that Georgia's going to challenge you on, coming off of a career-high assist game for Todd Pettiford. That's a big step in the right direction in areas that Auburn was struggling.
All right. Any quick hitters on some of the others? I mean, I'm just going to give you mine. I don't know that everyone really is that interested in these blowout games. I think everyone is turning their attention to Saturday. Vanderbilt goes 13-0 in non-conference play. I mean, Tyler Tanner looked like a first-team All-SEC guy, 23 points, 7 assists, 3 steals. New Haven's just not good, but... again, Vanderbilt handles their business, another 40-plus point win. So works out fine with the analytics for them. Florida, not a lot to say for the Gators. I mean, they handled their business the way they should have, I thought. Honestly, didn't get a chance to watch a lot of Mississippi State, Alabama State, or the Ole Miss, Alcorn State. I know How You Doing mentioned earlier, Ole Miss got off to a start that, probably was not exactly what you wanted to see, but still, I think they're clearly a team that feels like they're a work in progress, right? I mean, it's just, I'm curious to see, again, what their rotation looks like. I think that's going to be kind of the biggest thing to me is to figure out what they look like, let's say in a month, because I don't really have a great feel on Ole Miss at this point for the reasons we've mentioned. You mentioned Oklahoma, adding a new player to the mix, always a unique situation. This time of year, LSU keeps rolling. Dayton Thomas, first-team All-SEC guy, contender, no doubt about it. So, I mean, that's kind of my quick takeaways on the others.
Yeah, real quick on Ole Miss. That was the first time that I've seen Chris Beard pleased with his team's performance in a long time. That was a happy Chris Beard in the post-game press conference. He had one quote that I think we might be able to take finally something away from what this rotation might start to get crunched down to, but still maybe not much, because if you look at how many guys got in action and AJ Storr being only a 9-minute guy after starting, you're left scratching your head. But Beard did say it was the game and performance from the team that we needed. I'm really proud of James Scott. A double-double in 16 minutes he got speaks for itself. We're going to need James to play like this the rest of the season to have the run we're all wanting to have. So I think you can start to feel more comfortable about Dia and Scott playing north of 20 minutes a game together in that front court, with Corey Chest kind of being that main front court guy off the bench. Other than that, though, in the backcourt, I still have a lot of questions. And I'm kind of just like how the rotation's going to shake out in some of these tougher games.
By the way, if you did miss it, Ole Miss didn't score in the first 6 minutes of this game.
It was rough.
They were down 8-0. I was trying to remember exactly how long it was. For some reason, I thought it was shorter than that. But yeah, it was a full 6 minutes before they scored. Yeah, it was a rough start, but they turned it around.
It was, and then it started pouring it on.
Defensively, they turned it around, because I think Alcorn State had like 8 points in the first 3 minutes or something, and they didn't score again until, I don't know, it was like 10 minutes or so, something like that. So,
yeah, I do want to talk a little bit about Oklahoma, not much of the game, but more so just of the current status. So obviously Mississippi Valley State is I think they're the worst team on KenPom right now. Yeah, 365. So to not cover the spread like by margin against Mississippi Valley State, you're going to get knocked in the analytics a little bit. They dropped from 50 to 52nd. But that's it. Porter Moser was saying Mississippi Valley State played 40 minutes of zone, and it just our guys just kind of got lulled to sleep sometimes. It was starting to affect our ball movement, and just we're playing a guy for 18 minutes that has been in 2 practices for us, and now he's got to make decisions against zone defense that he doesn't even know his teammates' names yet. So, like, I'm going to give them a little bit of a pass, but here is Porter Moser on how they found Kirill Elatontsev, how this process kind of came to be.
Well, really what happened was, October 9th, Jeff Goodman put a tweet out, and he said, and he talked about Kirill, said he's already been cleared by the NCAA. He'll be eligible to play right away. So we started doing our due diligence calls. We kind of knew we had only 2 guys, but it kind of started with that tweet. And then we did our due diligence, watched them, started recruiting them, did that whole process. And in our back of our mind, we knew, just kind of went through the process. But the whole country saw that tweet, and he had a lot of calls, not just us. And we recruited him, showed that we had a need for him. But we didn't go, we didn't do anything getting him cleared for the NCAA. That tweet, we saw it, and it was, he's already been cleared by the NCAA. It was October 9th. And we're like, he's already been cleared by the NCAA. He's 6'11", he's everything. I'm like, and that's how it started.
How unique is the mid-year edition?
Yeah, really unique. I've never had it, but I'll tell you, if you, whether I like it or not is a different story. It's allowed, and you're either going to evolve. It was like when NIL hit. There were some people that didn't like it, but the people that just jumped in and evolved faster got a leg up until the other places that it took them a while to get going with it. Do we need guidelines or guardrails in a lot of things? Yes. But right now, if he's cleared, you gotta evolve. He's cleared. He's a really good young man. I can't believe that we were able to throw him in with 2 practices. They ran 40 minutes of zone, and he had to do zone offense, and everything. They pressed, and we're like trying to on the fly. Mo can't get 4 fouls in 13 minutes and 58 seconds. But with Kai injured, and I thought Kirill battled. I thought he battled, and he'll get better and better and better. He literally 2 practices in.
I mean, quite the story. The coaching staff sees a report from Jeff Goodman on Twitter that says big man Kirill Elatontsev has been cleared by the NCAA. And that is their introduction to starting to recruit the 6'11" big man. You can't make it up.
No, you can't. And I think that's a good segue into John Calipari's comments. So if you didn't see that, let's just go ahead and play those. We're not going to play
Okay.
the full thing, but yeah, Cal gave his thoughts like many others did yesterday on this just whole Wild West situation.
So it's about a 7-minute rant. I've clipped it down to 1.
Yeah, we're not
But
going to
if you
play the
are-
7. Yeah, we'll watch it though.
What-
If you want to find it, it's easily available out there.
Yeah.
So.
So here's Calipari, not responding to Moser, but just his comments on what's going on.
Well, look, I don't blame coaches. You know, I've got friends that are playing with 27-year-olds and they feel bad. I said, don't feel bad. We don't have any rules. Why should you feel bad? But let me give you this. Real simple. The rules bees the rules. So if you put your name in the draft, I don't care if you're from Russia and you stay in the draft, you can't play college basketball. Well, that's only for American kids. What? If your name is in that draft and you got drafted, you can't play because that's our rule. Yeah, but that's only for American kids. Okay. Okay, now, here's the next lawsuit. Well, we don't have a say over European players. You do if they're playing in college basketball. So that means you don't have a say over high school kids. So whatever a high school kid does before he comes here, don't you do one thing because there's a suit. Because what you're saying is, if he's in Europe, we don't have the same rules. What?
What?
It goes on for 6 more minutes. That was the first minute of the rant.
Yeah.
Goes on to say a lot more. And honestly, the point that I took away from it the most was like what it is doing negatively to American high schoolers. Why recruit an American high schooler if you can get a guy that's gone and played pro for the past 3 years, or a guy that is on an NBA G League team practicing against NBA players? Why would I recruit a 17-year-old American kid? They're the ones that are going to be hurt the most in this recruiting process. And I was like, man, that's a good, that's a domino effect that I wasn't really thinking of. That's going to hurt American high schoolers if this continues.
Well, I don't have much to add. I think that Cal's, I mean, again, watch the full thing. I think you'll get more out of it.
It's worth your time.
It's worth your time, I think, just to hear his thoughts. And I don't blame. By the way, we're gonna have to we're gonna need to clip out just the what, and we're gonna have to start adding that into the show in different places. So I'm gonna task Max with doing that. The chat is all in on the what from Cal. So we're gonna clip that out, and we will put that in and just throw it in. Yeah, he went Stone Cold Steve Austin. A little what, as Chris notes on that. But yeah, I just think it's. I don't blame. And I think most coaches. I don't blame any coach that takes advantage of this right now. Why wouldn't you? You're trying to win and keep your job. Like, I do what you have to do. And like he said, he's not going to blame anybody. Like, you got a coach playing with a 27-year-old. It's not their fault. It's just kind of, hey, it is what it is. So, yeah, I don't know what we're doing here. So, anyways,
I don't think the coaches know what they're doing either.
No, I don't think so. All right. So again, that was the wrap up. We just, there's only so much more we can say about all these games that were blowouts. So we need to take the time to tell you about our friends over at the Yearly Company, Nashville-based fine jewelry brand built on tradition, designed for meaning. Each bangle they have over there, custom size, it's solid 14 karat gold, natural gemstones, backed by a lifetime guarantee. So get that sizing kit. We tell you about it all the time. SC16 kit, SC16 kit. 100% off the sizing kit. It's free, complimentary from our friends, the Yearly Company. Go check it out now. SC16 kit over at the Yearly Company and ROKFORM, ROKFORM.com. The world's strongest magnetic phone case, extreme protection, super strong magnets, rock lock, secure mounting. 25% off over at ROKFORM, SEC25. SEC25, 25% off over at ROKFORM. All right. Let's get to a couple things here in the chat. Brian asked earlier how he upgrades from the MVP to the standard member. Well, guess what, folks? Brian's figured it out because he is now an MVP going from supporter to MVP here at the channel. That means he gets all the bonus content. And it also means that Brian will get in on our SEC Predictions Live, which kick off on Thursday morning. We said it. We will do all of our SEC game predictions this year live for our members, MVP or Legends. You have to be one of those two tiers. And yes, you can sit in on our predictions live. We'll still put them up on the channel like we always do, game-by-game videos, all that. But two, sit in live, interact with us as we're making our predictions.
Yes.
That is a perk for members and Legends. And let me go ahead and just give you the
I've
link
already
again.
started my pregame predictions last night. Games are ended. Can't go to bed. All right. Pulls up the Saturday slate and is just going through, trying to tinker already like it's an 8-9 matchup. Like it's an 8-9 matchup, the open March Madness. That's what this feels like. So many good matchups here on Saturday. Gonna learn a lot.
Max, you know who's not started their Saturday predictions yet?
Probably a lot of people.
You know who's probably going to make his predictions on the fly on Saturday or on Thursday when we do these? No question. You know, you go with your gut. You go with your gut. And so it's going to be wild. Our first predictions, especially live. That's going to be.
You know what? You'll go with your gut. I'll tinker them down to the last minute, and you'll probably have a better record.
Well, you know, we'll see. We'll see. So, I agree with Big Gator EJ. Would love to watch Southeastern 16 live on the big screen in Times Square. I mean, who wouldn't want that?
I mean,
Let's be honest with ourselves. Like, who wouldn't want that?
Get us on an IMAX screen.
Yeah. What? We got to get that. We got to get that in the soundboard quick. All right. Had some thoughts in the comments on win totals this year, I guess, in the SEC. Shane says he doesn't think anyone in the conference wins more than 13. And by the way, Shane, Big Gator EJ, One Feisty Tiger, Sam, we've still got to coordinate you with Chris. But I did respond to your messages on that community post. You guys are our legends to get your legend show. So respond to that when you get a chance, and we'll set up a time, hopefully next week, to start knocking more of those out for you guys. All right. I don't think Shane's that far off here. I think 13 might be the number. I know you disagree because you think
No, I don't strongly
on a
disagree.
run here. I think
I don't disagree at all. I mean, geez, with the way that these teams have played and the inconsistency of a lot of them, and then the only team that has really been rock solid consistent hasn't played a top 30 team to be tested against the elite level. To say confidently that a team is going to go through this league with only 4 losses is, you know, I feel like that's more bold than it isn't, right?
yeah, I would probably take someone at 14-4, I guess, but
I guess.
I don't know, guys. I know some people are saying like Arkansas is going to win 15 and all this. I don't know that I see the winner going 15-3 this year. I just think there's been too many data points so far to tell us that. I think these teams have flaws. Like, I think pretty much every team has a flaw that if they, you know, let's say get off to a rocky start, what you could see it turn, 1 loss turns into 2, 2 turns into 3. Like, I think you can see that this year way more than you could last year with these top teams. You know, and I could point out all of them, right? Like, maybe people are going to wind up being right about Vanderbilt. Like, maybe the Commodores losing Frankie Collins. Maybe the front court doesn't. I don't know yet because I haven't seen them play the SEC schedule. Florida, guard play's been inconsistent. The shooting has been poor. Alabama, injuries, a plenty. Tennessee, offense has been inconsistent. Kentucky, we've talked about them. Even with their, you know, Jaden Quaintance there, Jalen Lowe there, I still am not 100% confident that Kentucky is going to be a Final Four team just yet.
Right.
Arkansas, Auburn, like, I think these are teams that we've seen. Listen, not everybody is perfect this time of year. Whereas last year, it felt like everybody was like, we're just talking up everybody. So it's just, I think that's the key difference. And that's why I am, you know, we probably did have some pretty strong opinions last year on certain teams. Like, we were like, all right, we're going to get an all SEC Final Four. we're gonna have at least 2 teams in the net. And we got there, but with the 2 in the Final Four. But I don't have any strong opinions, guys, on anyone in the SEC right now. I just am being completely honest with you. And I know you're like, well, you've been talking about Vanderbilt. I've been talking about Vanderbilt, what we've seen to this point, but at no point have I been like, hey, they're going to roll through and sweep the league. I don't see that happening. So that's the difference for me, Max. I don't really have any of those, like, what I think are just bold, strong opinions on any of these teams, because I can make a case for or against pretty much every SEC team right now. So,
yeah, if Florida's guards offensively were more consistent, if there was some more consistent perimeter offense there, I would confidently say, based on the away schedule and the teams that Florida does not have to play on the road, that I would like Florida to get to 14 wins, get up above 13. But to predict the team ranked 340th in 3-point shooting percentage, they're one of the worst 25 shooting teams in the country. To predict them to only lose 3-4 games in SEC play, I mean, geez, that's a lot of tough games you got to win without making shots. So, yeah, maybe 13-5, 14-4. If someone gets to 15, I'd be like, wow, they really surprised me.
look, I mean, I laugh at this, but like Joe Mother's like, don't lie, you're not making a case for Mississippi State. I actually could probably make more of a case for Mississippi State than I could some of the bottom tier teams right now, because they're playing better. So it's like, I'm not saying they're going to win the league, but I could see them have Josh Hubbard. Like they could turn it around to a point to where they're finishing higher than expected. I don't know if they make the NCAA tournament, but we're going to say that about a lot of teams right now in the SEC. Just because I still think 8 or 9 is more likely than 9 or 10 right now, in my opinion. Speaking of which, Max, do you want to do a little bracketology update here real quick? We'll throw this in the title after the fact, but
Sure.
Lenardi did release his latest bracketology this morning, and let's see if I can remember how to share this here on that. We will pull this up here.
Last time we had, would we have 11 in or 10 in?
I don't remember what it was last time, honestly.
All right.
Okay. So, once again, last team in Oklahoma. I think that was the same as last week. He's got a big write-up here on Vanderbilt. So, hide your eyes if you were a non-Vanderbilt fan, I guess. But, so I don't know. But, all right. On the bubble, NC State, LSU, one of the last 4 byes.
Okay.
No one in the SEC in the first 4 out or next 4 out, which I think makes sense. All right,
Oklahoma,
let's get
the last
to
team in the whole tournament.
Oklahoma. Yeah, they were in the same spot last week, I believe. All right, Midwest, Georgia's an 8. You've got Vanderbilt as a 2. In the West, you've got Florida as a 5. You've got, I guess that's it. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Oklahoma's right here, by the way, in Philadelphia in the play-in against Butler. So, Oklahoma, Iowa. What would Max Barr do if he had to watch that game? My goodness. What in the world would he do? So,
Two of my teams.
Okay.
2 of my teams.
Yeah, you'd be in trouble in that one. All right. To the East, Auburn dropped to an 8, which I don't think people should be shocked by this, folks. Again, Auburn losing the way they have has hurt them in the analytics, even though I think they're going to be fine and turn it around based on their early part of the SEC schedule. Tennessee is a 5, playing Bill and Mary there. Arkansas is a 6. That's one that people will probably push back on a little bit, but I think similar in that I'm not going to say it's hurting Arkansas, but what is not helping Arkansas was the close wins against Winthrop and Samford. So analytically, Max, that's probably dropping them a spot potentially. I mean,
geez, just look at those 5s and 6s
silly,
just in the lower half of this bracket. The 5s are Tennessee and Louisville. Jeez. And then the 6s are Arkansas and Virginia. What the? Those are 4 really good teams.
Yeah. So, and then LSU's a 10, playing St. John's. So that's the East. In the South, You have Alabama as the 4, so
Cats.
not playing Yale, playing High Point. And then Kentucky is a 7. I think that's the exact same as it was last week. Kentucky is the 7 against St. Louis in St. Louis. So
Your 7s are St. John's and Kentucky. Wow.
Both two teams with a lot to prove still. So
A lot to prove, but a ton of talent, for any
I
given,
agree.
one game on a neutral floor. That's a lot of talent for a 7 seed.
Yeah, that's fine. All right, there you go. We want to do gut bracket today, but there's a look
How many
at,
teams we got?
What is it?
They're
9?
the conferences at the break.
It's got 10, but
Oh,
that's for now. I don't know. Nah,
you're telling me there's a chance at 11.
no.
There's a chance at
I'm
11.
telling you right now, there's not a chance at 11. I'm telling you that 100% certainty, Max. There's not a chance at 11. We can clip this out at the end of the season if 11 if it happens, but I don't see it, man.
There is a chance for 11, folks. There's a chance.
Who's number 11 right now? Who would be the 11th team?
Texas?
Okay. But Oklahoma's the last team in as number 10. And I just think there's way too much that can go wrong there. Same for LSU. So, I don't know. Seems like too many.
It's the optimism. It's the optimism in me. Someone's got to do it.
I appreciate you being optimistic. All right. There you go. Bracketology as it stands right now. Next week's Bracketology will tell the story on where things are headed. So we'll find out. Okay.
Big week.
Why don't we just do a quick look at the schedule for Saturday? All right. Just in case anyone needs to know what it looks like. Quick Saturday schedule look. By the way, coming up at top of the hour, Brian Edwards, Jay Greason, going to hop on for about 15 minutes, give you a quick betting primer on Vanderbilt, Iowa. That's the next big game beyond Tennessee, Illinois. We did that game last week. So those guys will be on in a bit, and more playoff talk, of course, coming up, given the schedule after that. But let me get a little screenshot action here, Max, and we will look at Saturday's slate for the SEC to tip things off here. Blake Barr, go ahead and answer any other questions you have there while I get this pulled up. Blake Barr's coming soon. It'll be soon. Listen, guys, I'm doing my best right now. We are in full SEC play starts on Saturday, playoff this week. We got a lot going on, so we are going to get to Blake Barr as soon as we can. That is my promise to you. All right. It's kind of small here. That's what she said. But the Saturday schedule, Kentucky at Alabama, 11 a.m. tip on ESPN. Auburn at Georgia. I think that's the SEC network. I can't even see it at this point. It's just, I can't even see it. Vanderbilt at South Carolina, 1 p.m. Central on ESPNU. Tennessee's at Arkansas, 2 p.m. Central on ESPN2. Ole Miss at Oklahoma, 2:30 p.m. Central on SEC Network. LSU at Texas A&M, 3 p.m. Central on ESPNU. Mississippi State at Texas, 5 p.m. Central, SEC Network. And then Florida at Missouri. The nightcap, 7:30 p.m. Central on the SEC Network.
I don't think there's not one game on here that I am not like, I need eyeballs on this. I need eyeballs on this. I am interested in this in some form or fashion. Every single game, even the non-ranked games, like Mississippi State at Texas. Is Mississippi State back? Have they found something here? Is Hubbard and Epps, do they finally have their chemistry down and Quincy Ballard's playing tough, or is Matas Fokititis, Dalen Swain, are they going to work themselves into the tournament? Same thing, same exact scenario, LSU and Texas A&M, two teams right on that kind of 30th to 50th bubbly area with the analytics. What do we see from Texas A&M at home without Mgbako? Ole Miss, Oklahoma. Is Oklahoma going to try to climb up these analytics, or is Ole Miss going to try to muck up their chances here to climb into the 40s analytically? Every other game is ranked. I mean, forget quad box. I'm going to need an octo box for Saturday. Every game here I am stoked for, truly.
All right. we'll have you covered. SEC predictions live on Thursday morning for our MVPs and legends. Remember, you have to sign up to that tier to get our predictions live. If you don't want to, hey, it's okay. You'll still get the videos coming out after the fact, but if you want early access and sit in, interact with us as we're making our predictions, you can do that by joining the MVP or Legends tier here at Southeastern 16. Hit that join button on YouTube. It'll take you right there with your options. So, all right, guys, we're going to hop off. We got football on the way in just a bit. More stuff coming as well. We've got our Southeastern 16 mailbag we'll do probably the next day or two. And Blake Barr planning to do that as soon as Blake gets a chance to do it. We got a lot going on here at Southeastern 16 to get ready for the new year. So, yes, it'll be there. So, yes, there you have it. All right. Hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe, turn on your notifications, all that good stuff. We'll talk to you soon here at Southeastern 16, presented by FanDuel.